YouTube there.
Kill it and light the scandal.
Give me 1 second.
I have so little with you.
Ready?
Literally. You can leave. But I mean,
I like it.
come in.
It's close.
Naughty coma too.
I got nothing. Oh,
Responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show. Now, before we do this, let's go over our rules. Rule number 1: no touching of the hair or face. Now that's it. Now let's do this.
morning.
Hey, good morning to you. Boy, the Wade and Carter Orchestra sounded tight on that intro
They
this
did
morning.
sound tight this morning.
That was good. Good job, guys.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. You know, one day off in the middle of the week really kind of does it for you.
I wouldn't know.
No, I know. You're just a slave to the trade. It makes you the consummate pro. Kind of the Peyton Manning of radio.
I could have called in and just said, I'm not doing it. But no,
No, it worked good.
Caleb came in and
He's a champion and did a great job.
good job. Always on short
does a good
notice.
job.
So appreciate him. Appreciate Kinsey McGrew coming in, talking about how you can battle your property taxes if you feel your appraisal was out of line.
She and her dad, their firm, they're a taxpayer's best friend. She's a nice lady.
They do a good job. I learned a lot
Awesome.
from their seminar last year. I watched a little bit of it yesterday. Some good tips, and we shared or we streamed the video last night on our page as well with Caleb and Kinsey, and I believe you can probably go find it again and watch it if you have any questions. I would maybe start there and then, or just give Kinsey a call and she can answer your questions directly.
She wins a lot more than she loses. When it comes time to discuss your tax burden, especially, property taxes, you go down with her and she's always.
And there's no
always
risk. They don't
really
take
quick.
any money up front. As she explained yesterday, they take a percentage of what they save you, and that's how they get paid. So if they don't save you anything, they don't get anything. So they got some skin in the game. Let's do this.
She's in a position to tell you, you're in a good spot. You did good here. Relax.
Well, they're willing to go with you.
Sure. It's also
So
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Victoria weather brought to you by Cheryl Wallachow's Chickens. It's 72 degrees in Victoria right now under cloudy skies, and the sun should peek out late this afternoon. I think there's a chance of rain today.
we didn't get any yesterday. I mean, I shouldn't say any. I bet you. I don't even think I got 1/10 of an inch. It rained for about.
So
The heavy drops came when I was in the garden with Dot, and so I picked her up and took her into the house because she's the sick chicken. And it looked like
the older you
maybe
get,
hail, and then it didn't come.
the older you get, every 1/10 of an inch counts. They matter. Trust me.
Hair,
Yes. Stop there.
height,
Right.
rain.
For an attempt.
David Rice
goodness.
checking in. Chris Conrad, good morning.
I saw where Zach Smith checked in. Zach, I didn't get to watch City Council yesterday. Was there anything of interest? If you have a chance to put a note on there, I'd love to see it. How did you do that?
I don't know. That's good.
Not easy.
No.
Not easy.
There we go. I was all twisted.
President Trump do anything yesterday?
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Bobby Leister, good morning to you. Mike Bloschke, C.W. Bean, Clayton Helt.
That was just a question. It wasn't like a lead into a bit. That was like just a question.
Yeah, no.
Wonder what he did. Hello, Michael and Clayton. Good morning, sir.
Monica Jost, Paul Ebner, Joe Mitchell,
What a great group.
Christina Wise, Stephen Kidder, Byron Burris, Scott Snow.
Joe, did Country Club get a shower yesterday? It's always good. The golf course looks at that as free water. That's good stuff.
Steve Kidder asked, where's Caleb?
Thanks, brother.
Probably sleeping.
No. That was more of a stab at your partner over here.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Bobby Leister says, glad you're back. So there you go.
Thank you.
We're
That
evening
evens
things
out.
out.
And that's me. I'm a 50-50 guy. I'm like Notre Dame. You either love me or hate me. But I'm like Notre Dame. I'm not like Fresno State. Make a note of that.
Todd Posey, Patrick Strauss, Byron Burris. Good morning to you, Judge Posey,
Hello,
Larry
Judge.
Leahy, BJ Nelson, Matt Boucher, Billy Imes. Let's see who else is in this
I
one.
can't wait to get
Marty
Matt
Stockmar.
Boucher back on. We're going to do an entire segment of the show where all he does is talk about how
Fix your
beautiful
yard?
my yard is. No, he's fixed my yard. It's unbelievable. I sent him a video the other day, and I've got one of those little limestone or sandstone is what it is. It's got a little longhorn that was like water etched out of it. And I kind of focused on that for him for a minute. And I think he would say that was the only blight in the garden.
Right.
The yard looks amazing, and that's all because of our county ag extension agent that you can also reach out to.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Great guy.
Marty Stockbauer, Rena Scherer, Ryan Lott, Christina Wise says the lines for haircuts starting Friday will be worse than the HEB lines were.
Isn't that something? Yeah, the hair salons are in the
The
news.
enterprising salon owners, stylists, they're taking like deposits now for your first, because
Yeah.
how else do you prioritize?
Right.
Right.
And what happens if you don't show? That's money I can't make
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah, and they've been without for 6 to 8 weeks, so yeah, I think that's the way to do it right now. Take a deposit or pay in advance, and if you don't show, oops. But
Dog,
the restrictions are I mean, let's be honest. If you're a lady and you go to get your hair colored, they might give you an hour that you're not in and out of there in an hour.
No.
They can only have one person in the chair. They can't have anybody waiting inside. I think it's going to be tough I mean, you're going to be looking at, you're not going to be able to move people into chairs and things like that. It's going to be interesting.
yeah.
They're going to have to, it's going to be a new dance for hairstylists for a while.
There's
Yes,
Trey
sir.
Molina checking in. Adam Sugar.
Doug
Doug
Yellowsword.
Yellowsword.
Jeff Coleman, good morning. We're still at 42 YouTube subscribers.
Folks,
We
just
are
read
flattening
about
the curve.
55 Yeah, the curve. Yeah, to stop the pandemic
Yeah.
of Wade and Carter.
We flattened the speed bump of subscribers at YouTube.
After the show, go to YouTube, type Wade and Carter into the search, and when the logo pops up, subscribe to it. It's free.
It's a more full body view, which may not be a good
I don't know
thing.
what that is. Look, though, I'm down, babe.
Man, we got two people watching over on YouTube.
Now it's a backwards view, right?
Yeah, it's the cameras. Well, it's the webcam on the laptop. So
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is more. Yeah, there you go.
Johnny Houghton, good morning to you. I guess Shelley Luther, the Salon a la Mode owner in Dallas, who defied stay-at-home orders and
Genius.
opened up, and
She's a genius.
she really is, was doing it, not for her. I mean, she forego payments of personal things so she could keep her salon open and keep the rent and keep everything going so her salon is there. She got 14 days in jail yesterday. Sentenced to 14 days in jail, a $7,000 fine. I think it
For
was,
opening her salon against the city's code or
Yeah.
protocol.
and I believe, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether there was a law in the book that was finable. The judge said no bail. 14 days, no bail.
You know what her hair's gonna look like in 2 weeks?
I mean,
You talk about a genius, though.
sending
folks.
a message is all that idiotic judge was trying to do at a point when, I mean, this was yesterday, and then the governor says, well, we're going to open salons in 3 days. So really what was being hurt?
Well, the thing is,
besides the judge's pride.
she kind of jumped the gun. I get it. 14 days in jail. What about 50 hours of community service? And even that's too much.
What about putting her in the stock at Dealey Plaza and having kids
talked
throw
about that.
tomatoes at her?
They could throw tomatoes at her from the grassy knoll. They could stake her out, or they could cut off her scissor thumb.
Well, if he really wanted to make the statement, that would have been it, right?
Cut
Force her to
her
cut left-handed.
scissor
She'd had to turn in Edward Scissorhands to keep her career going.
Imagine if this was your mother or your hairstylist.
Or your wife, or your best friend, or your friend, your partner, whatever.
I don't care how extreme you are with this COVID, phobia. 14 days in jail?
Yeah, Christina Wise said here were her options from the judge. Apologize for your actions and you wouldn't go to jail, or you're going to jail. She didn't apologize. What does she have to apologize
She
for?
said, hey, I got to
Trying to make a living?
Good morning, T-Lap. Good to see you check in. I think 14 days. I mean, of course, we have a lot of listeners that have spent a little time in jail. Anything over about 8 minutes is a long time. 14 days in jail, and the newness is worn off.
Yeah.
It is not fun.
Don Nicole checking in, Kelly Fromme, Adam Daughtry, Patrick Strauss says she should have a GoFundMe page. She does.
Think she does.
Last I checked it last night, it was up well over $100,000.
Yeah, she's going to be a genius. What she'll do is
well,
get out. She needs an advisor. She needs to call us.
My understanding is the money that won't go to her legal bills will be given to help her hairstylist in her salon, and apparently there's quite a number of them.
What kind of legal bills is she going to have? I mean, I wouldn't pay a lawyer that got me 14 days.
Yeah,
She'll pay the $7,000.
She'll pay the $7,000. I would fight this thing all the way to the Supreme Court if I was her, and I think
she's
that's
going
what
to
her
be
plan
in
is.
jail.
Only for 14 days. She can get out.
Yeah.
She'll get out in 14 days.
But the thing is, she should be.
Governor Abbott needs a commuter sentence if he has that ability to do so.
Absolutely. He probably does. In this quirky time, he probably does.
And this judge, voters in Dallas need to remember this. This judge, I don't know his name. He does not need to be reelected.
She ought to get out, though, and make sure that she gets all the publicity for giving all this money to the people that worked with her to keep their livelihoods going. And then she ought to just do an ad campaign. She ought to cut hair in pinstripes, like she's been in jail. She should. I mean,
Salon a la prison.
Right. She could be a gazillionaire. She could franchise this rig, outlaw hair salon,
Randy Kowalik says she's lucky TDLR isn't pulling her license. I think if TDLR did that, Governor Abbott might have more problems on his hand than a bunch of people mad at a judge in Dallas.
Yeah.
Texas pulled her license. And from what I understand, she only had one person in the salon at a time. She was wearing a mask. She was wearing gloves. She was doing all the things they're asking you to do when they open up on Friday, except she was doing it early.
If you hear something, say something.
Yeah.
Call the authorities. Thank you. We are the Nazi Party.
Kelly Farmer says, now she'll contract the virus while in jail.
Yeah,
it's a true story, unfortunately.
That's legitimate irony.
Took her to jail yesterday after court, is what Georgia Gutierrez believes. I think
it's like, goodbye. See ya.
Yeah, well, it usually is, right? Yeah. Clifford Crump. No, that's Teresa Crump. Let's be honest. Clifford ain't up yet. No. There's my beautiful wife, Cheryl, checking in. But, I mean, this is how crazy we've gotten. Jim Hartman checking in. Philip Barone, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Hartman.
Eric Alex checking in. Now, you heard something this morning that I thought was interesting.
I did.
You told me about it.
Give me just a hint.
Old folks' homes?
Oh, I thought it was interesting that I'd be curious what y'all's thoughts are.
It kind of goes along the lines of where we are right now.
This guy, he was a spokesman. I think he was probably he wasn't a CDC guy. He was probably like a people's advocate type. I caught the end of the story. And he said, we've had some harsh guidelines and criteria that we've employed. And he said, we're going to really have to study, the effects of what we've done. And one thing he said was, he said it kind of like a rhetorical question. He goes, no visitors at nursing homes? And it's the first time that I really thought of it, because in practicality, it makes perfect sense as to say, Well, okay, they're our most vulnerable group. You can't go see them. But on the other hand, my brain started saying, I wonder if you're going to see and when this is over, nursing home deaths up or down. Will they be up because the elderly lost
Don't do
hope?
that study in Seattle or New York.
Well, yeah, aside from those that died of COVID, would they be up because folks lost hope and didn't have that
Will to live.
family loving lifeline to the outside world? Or will they be down because so many of the folks in nursing homes have no one, and now they're not depressed because, well, gee, nobody ever comes to see me. Now they've got a legitimate reason why nobody ever comes to see them. It made me wonder if we'll see a fluctuation, because we are a social animal, social creature.
Yeah.
We like to congregate. So it's interesting. You
Having
don't
daughters
ever
that see them through the window.
Yeah, or you could call them on the phone, or, if you could teach. It's hard to teach grandma how to Zoom when you're not there.
Our video ended for some reason.
On Facebook?
Yeah. Go start it again.
Whoa.
I don't know what happened there. But yeah, it's interesting. Well, it makes you, how can I phrase this without sounding insensitive? Because I don't want to sound insensitive, but this is the population we're supposed to protect, right? The vulnerable. And now somebody wants to make us feel guilty about protecting them. I don't quite,
Right.
I don't know, can't see anything. Don't quite understand it. Oh, we got a call. What do you know?
See what the video looks like.
Good morning. Morning, Wade and Carter. Got a call. Nobody there.
Hang on.
All right. Well, nobody's there.
This is
So-
beyond your control. It's not your fault.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. We had a call, and then we don't have a call, but it's just it's interesting that now the guilt trip is on.
Yeah, it'll be a lifetime of second guessing now that we have all this.
Well, I mean, we're second guessing everything now, from the fact that we used bad models to start, to the reaction or delayed reaction to anything that was going on with the COVID.
Yeah, it's interesting. They talk about all the bad modeling, and I heard an interesting video the other day. They just said, don't kid yourself that all of this isn't just manipulated for political purposes. All of it. I saw a deal said the CDC was now revising their actual COVID death number from like 65 and change down to 37.
No, it wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
No.
But see, there's so much information out there, you don't know what's true and what's not.
Yeah, what happened was, but I do believe a federal government that actually reports deaths, their numbers lag because they wait for the actual death certificate to come in before they report the actual death toll.
Right.
CDC is usually an estimate at best. Even their flu numbers are an estimate, right? Well, 80,000 people died of the flu this year. We don't really know. That's a kind of a guess based on limited data that they pull. Right. And 8 million people are going to get the flu this year. It's all.
Yeah. And you know that because it's never 82,641. It's 80,000 people died of the flu. Más o menos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. Now, TLAC came back. Hey, we must be doing something good. She came back.
Yeah. Cheryl came back too. So
good deal.
No, it is Clifford Crump. He says he got up early. He gets up early. He's got a new job now. So
there's folks.
So there we go. So they're coming back in. Christina Wise says the nursing home deaths will still be categorized as COVID deaths no matter what they've died.
Legit point.
And probably so.
Yeah.
There were people up in arms over the weekend over the money that Medicare is paying for COVID-related illness, COVID deaths and things. But you got to remember, it costs more when you got to put somebody on a ventilator. Right. So, I mean, the treatment goes up. You can't just put a Band-Aid on it and give them a $30 Medicare reimbursement and be done. There's more involved in the care of those patients, whether they survive or not.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, exactly. This ain't Eddie
And
Broken.
Robitussin.
Exactly. And that's that, and people got into huge arguments online over this stuff and Facebook and Twitter. And I just kind of sat back and watched and nobody seemed to understand there is an increased cost when you have to go into more rigorous healthcare regimens to try to save these folks.
Right.
Right. And then I was reading an article on this thing, and whoever it was pointed out that Medicare will then go back and audit and take money back. So hospitals will be very careful. They're not inflating their numbers just to get a bunch of money that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, they're going to have to turn around and get back to the federal government because they were audited and found out that they misappropriated or misused it or were wrong in classifying everything. Will there be some fraud? Maybe. There always seems to be in anything the government's involved in at some level, but I don't think you're going to see wide scale, and hospitals don't do that. They don't want to have to turn around 3 years from now and give back millions of dollars
No.
that they claimed erroneously. It's not going to happen.
So, right above, Philip Marone said that hospitals are being encouraged to list deaths as coronavirus. I don't know if maybe they get paid more from the government.
Well, they do. That's what we just talked about. Thanks for paying attention.
Oh. I'm here for you. But they don't want to give that money back. I'm with you. I'm back up. I'm up to speed, folks. A little brain freeze. Allen's Record Service.
Yeah, if you can't get up to speed.
6300. If you can't get up to speed, Allen will drag you up to speed. 578-6300. Allen's will come out and grab your vehicle, take you where it needs to be. If it needs to get over to the Atzenhofer dealership, they'll take it right there. Paint and body work, mechanical work, service all makes and models. Since 1926, Atzenhofer has been Victoria's dealership, really the region's dealership. People come from all over to buy from Atzenhofer. Used to be Atzenhofer Chevrolet, but now with Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, and all their pre-owned cars, you can buy Lexus. They've got it all there. Get by Atzenhofer.
Fleet of trucks. If you need new work trucks, they've got everything from, heavy duty diesel engines, 3/4 ton, 1 ton, to bigger cabs and chassis than that. So
bigger chabs and chassis.
Yep, there you go. Can't
There
speak.
you go.
You can't pay attention. I can't speak.
It's Special Needs Radio. Thanks for tuning in. No, but if you'll reach out to them, and during this time, they're supporting local business, $20 gift card to Veracruz Restaurant with every new or used vehicle purchase. So it's a good deal. It's a good time.
Yep.
And then, of course, Chesney Furniture Company, downtown Victoria, 116 West Juan Lynn, corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge, 100 years in Victoria.
Yeah, Caleb Shaw is going to do one of his Meet Victoria segments on Bobby and Chesnick.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of because I was explaining the history of the story yesterday when we were on with Caleb, and he was like, "Wow, that's fascinating."
Did you embellish? I
didn't have to.
Back then, they loaded up the couch on a mule and drug it through the sloppy, muddy streets. The only
on a piece of cardboard
is the sloppy, muddy streets. Yeah, no, that's great. Chesney Furniture Company, 100 years in Victoria. What does it say?
As Conrad says, one guy can't talk, the other can't listen. Dream team.
We are the dream team. You wonder why we're going viral.
Yeah.
We're not going corona. We're just going viral. The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication and Service empire. If you want it done right, if you want it done with integrity, and you want somebody to honor their price, reach out to the Hartman family at VCS. If you want fire suppression, surveillance, if you need alarm systems, anything to make your home and communication life easier at the AT&T retailer.
Just life easier.
It's it. If it's electronic, if it talks to parts of your house or to equipment.
To you, when you're not at your house, they can hook you up with that type of gadgetry and wizardry.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
It's a great place, and you'll be glad you used them. We have so much content. I see 2 lines of stuff over there on your page.
Well, we already talked about one, but
yeah. Well, we got one.
Adam Sugar said he was going to stop by the last part of the show. I don't know what he wants, but we'll see what.
I hope he brings something to eat.
Yeah, that would be good. I'm kind of hungry this morning. Phil Barone says, tell Brent the mind is the first thing to go.
Huh? Squirrel.
Yeah.
No, I left yesterday. Ash granted me a day off. I had an opportunity to go fishing, and I'm that guy. I wouldn't
Didn't wear
say-
sunscreen, did you?
I did actually.
You're
It was
pretty bad.
hot. It's like, you know, that deal. I'm as good once as I ever was.
Yep.
It's a lie. I go out there, and of course we're wade fishing, and I still do it. I'm bailing off the boat, and I'm walking in, but I'm still, you know, I'm 245, 50 pounds, and the mud has a tensile strength for like 180. So I'm walking.
Anybody else would be ankle deep. You're
Yeah,
knee deep.
I'm waist deep in muck, you know, and the bay floor stinks when you're in water. that's
Any
only-
sharks?
No. But
Anything that could have done some damage to you?
yeah, I did see some stingrays,
Okay.
and they're
Any
so-
electric eels?
No, or sea snakes. I did end up back in a kind of a boggy part of one of the bays, and was concerned that there might be a big gator back there. But then I got distracted and just like fantasized of me just grabbing that gator and taking it into a death roll.
Dawn's got your back. She says you're old too.
Yeah, thanks, honey. No, but she's right. You know, that is the deal. But I'll tell you what I noticed, and it is a shameless plug. It's a great thing about Ash and me having the show. Michael Pena, the MP61, the training that we've been doing, I feel different. I mean, when you're walking, you start to lose your balance, and you just say, "No, I'm not going to fall." Again, the ground's uneven. You're
Yeah.
sinking, and you feel your core tighten up, and you stay upright. It's a good day. Some of the mud I was in yesterday, I would have gone down 6 months ago. So it didn't help me catch any more fish, but at least I didn't
Did
fall.
you catch anything?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
ended up with I probably caught a dozen trout and brought home four nice fish. And we had a good trip. I was glad I got to go. And thank you folks for giving me that day to go do that. So it was good. And T-Lad especially, she said, "You better come home in a good state of mind." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I will."
Blue Angels are taken to the sky today. I'm trying to see where they're going to fly over Houston, New Orleans, and Dallas, Fort Worth area as a salute to frontline workers. So
I
kinda
love the
cool.
Blue Angels. And when you stop and think about it, though, nothing makes less sense than to take billion-dollar fighter jets and do aerobatics over highly densely populated areas.
well, who's going to see them if you don't?
I know, but I mean, think about it, folks. And oh no, boy, he's really getting low. And all of a sudden, downtown's coated in jet fuel. It's a little scary.
So we're getting back to work. White House says the coronavirus task force will start to wind down.
You didn't want to comment on my Blue Angel stuff?
Don't
the Canadian, doesn't,
yeah, we got the snowbirds up there.
That's right. They're real white and blue planes. Real pretty.
Red and white.
Or they're
for
red,
sure.
red and white. They're
yeah.
red.
Yeah, there's no blue.
I thought maybe there was.
There's a little bit of blue on the old circle from the old Royal Air Force, but yeah.
I thought maybe the Canadian Mounted Police
They have a musical ride on
Road.
horses. It's pretty cool.
moose in formation.
That's only in the cart. That's only in Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Right. Oh,
But-
goodness.
When was the last time you heard of a Blue Angel catastrophe?
It's been a while. Trade well, you know, one of their leaders, they did do it. The whole team went down at one point. I think they're that. Trey Molina says he has a great Blue Angel story, but does he call?
No,
Does he share it? No.
of course not. So,
575-9509. We've
yeah,
got
give us a call
time.
if
Trust me,
anybody wants
we have
to call.
time.
So the task force is winding down. They're still going to be doing the things they do, just maybe not as visible and front line.
More covert.
I guess is this concerning to the American people as a whole? That they're we're 3 months into this thing for something that they say is going to last for years, and the second wave is still coming.
Right.
But they're going to wind down the task force. Should we? I mean, is that a concern to the American people? Does that bother you? Just even the logistics of it.
I try to picture of course, I grew up with, so I'm being funny. And if he was listening, he would laugh. But I picture like a 13-year-old Randy Vivian, like the neighborhood narc. You know, he's like, I saw you, I got you. I took a picture on my iPhone. I'm sending it to the authorities. That kind of stuff. Is there going to be a lot of covert people checking things out?
Well, now that everything's reopening, there's no snitching going on. But that's the fear with the contact tracing and stuff that they're talking about, right?
Right.
And using
Sure.
cell phones.
Sure. See what we got there. I'm hoping this is Funky Trey Molina. There you go, brother. Good morning. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good now that we got our technical glitches out of the way.
Yeah. Until YouTube or Facebook decides that we can't be on, and they like sabotage our deal. We're there now.
We got 7 viewers on YouTube.
7
Woo-hoo! That
YouTubers.
might be an all-time high.
That's good now. Right? Absolutely. And we don't even sing.
Okay. In a Blue Angel plane.
Really?
Wow.
They do have even in the F-18 configuration that they've been using for the last decade. They have several of the planes are the 2-seaters, and then several are single seaters. I want to tell you, Trey, that you're super fortunate that you told this story on Wade and Carter and not to the local newspaper, because if this story was told to the local newspaper, it would come out that your mother was a hooker for the Blue Angels. I'm just saying. She and I should talk.
That's pretty cool.
That is amazing. That's very cool stuff. You know, yeah,
and now you see that every day driving by, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Was she ever able to use her leverage or her influence to get you up in a Blue Angel plane?
You're pretty smart.
Did she ever chum the canopy when take it off for landing?
Yeah, I'd get sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Your mom was just a cover. She was either a hitman or a spy.
I think there's a chance she was a spy. And I think the story is more interesting if we make your mother a spy.
A hitman spy.
Yeah. Did she have like a briefcase about maybe 4 feet long she carried with her everywhere she went?
She carried a violin, but she never played it.
What happened was, right?
But then you might have to kill us, right?
But Trey was very young, and through lots and lots of counseling, this is how he remembers it now. Love it.
He was raised by Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
We need to get you here. You need to come be on the show with us. Yeah. Yeah, JP's losing it.
So even our listeners are agreeing with us. Chris Conrad says, sounds like your mom worked for the CIA.
Yeah, she worked for the CIA and apparently was willing to do anything to get the information she needed. That's,
Did you go to the beach this weekend?
but you know, Trey, people are going to be invincible now. It's going to be like, let's go to Water Street Oyster Bar and eat 2 dozen on the half shell because if Corona didn't get us, ain't no oyster going to kill us.
Exactly.
You
Red
know, like,
tide.
I'm in.
Who cares about the red tide?
Flesh-eating bacteria, let's fish. Nice.
Oh, there you go.
It's a great
Awesome.
spot. Right. We may come down there and do the show live with you. Joe's a good guy. Your mayor's a nice man. Yep.
Hey, we'll work on it. I think we could do something once the state reopens fully. We could probably do something.
What's his last name? McWhite? McComb. So Joe McComb is the mayor of Corpus, and his son is now a like a rescue guy for anybody that's in any type of a flood or anything.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
his family is the one that washed away in Wimberley. Remember when that house
Yes,
washed away?
yes.
This is the mayor
Oh.
of Corpus's son.
Okay.
Yeah. Great story. Yeah. And you know, Trey,
We have day jobs though, Trey.
Trey, there's got to be a Tejano station in Corpus that would embrace us, right? There's got to be one. Right? Unbelievable. Steve Kidder says we should make it around 4. We do it in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
there we go.
Well, hey, Trey, thanks for calling.
Appreciate it,
buddy.
Trey. Thanks, man.
Stay
Thanks
in
for the
touch,
call. It's a
man.
cool story about your mom, and take care, man.
Awesome, brother. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That's a great story. We love that kind of stuff, and all of you have those stories. We like to hear it. Good morning, Torrin Bales. Hope you're doing well.
Marvin Mick is checking in, bottom of the hour. We talked a little bit about them, but we didn't actually talk about them. Veracruz.
Wow. Yeah, we had Veracruz to go last night, Taco Tuesday, and call up, and we just kind of a la carte it. You know, need some queso, need a quart of that hot sauce. I'll never buy hot sauce anywhere again. It never crossed my mind. I just buy it by the quart from Veracruz.
Lasts you as long as you need it. Then you go when you're done eating it, you go get another one.
That's exactly right. There's no reason to buy Pace. You don't need picante sauce
Get a
from
rope.
New Jersey while you can have Veracruz hot sauce. They'll give it to you in a styrofoam quart container and it just sits in your fridge. It's perfect. And it's great cold. It is just phenomenal. Taco Tuesday was great. Got all the lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese. They put everything in containers. We did ground meat tacos.
I thought people's ingenuity yesterday to celebrate Cinco de Mayo was, I mean, they were doing it virtually.
Yeah, sure.
Gotta
There's
give him
Bobcat
credit.
Wiley. Hello, Bob. Hope you're doing well. Veracruz was awesome. Highly recommend it. SCT Building Systems. You want to build a new barn dominium, storage building,
Party
she
barn.
shed,
Anything you want to
Party
do,
barn.
they can do it all.
wedding venue. You want to build it? Call Clayton and Casey Hill, 564-8864. Give them a ring. That's Clayton's cell number. That's how much he's willing to talk to you like right now, 564-8864. He'll come out and give you a quote for the building you want to build, and then his wife Casey will help you design it. She'll say, well, yes, you could do that, but let me tell you what the pitfalls are. And they speak from experience. They've built stuff for lots of people.
Yep.
And they're eager to help you build. By the way, that when that's done, they can help you landscape. They can help you do all kinds of things. Just very interesting couple, very dynamic, local, small, but big. Big enough to get it done, small enough to make you feel like family. Reach out to SCT Building
Ooh, I like
Systems.
that.
Yeah, they just roll off my tongue. It's unbelievable.
Razor IT Solutions, John Paul Hall. He can help you with all from start to finish of anything you need that's web related,
Building a brand, building a web page, building a Facebook presence.
social media, how to intertwine it all, how to make it work better, how to become more efficient at it, how to schedule posts, how to schedule ads, how to boost posts, all those things that you need to do on social media to drive business to your website. If you're a web-based business, he'll help you get it all done.
And they're great. They're great to work with because you can call. Don't be intimidated. These folks are computer geniuses, but you can call and say, my thingamajigger is not talking to my whatchamacallit. And he'll say, oh, you need to, it's all Fitzer valves and ball
They're
bearings
good.
these days.
Not good enough to be thrown on a Blue Angel flight in the middle of the night to go fix a
Right.
computer problem,
Not
but
like-
they're almost that
I'm
good.
not like, oh, yes, mama.
No, but they're almost that
That's
good.
awesome. Good morning, Sheriff Louderback. Hope you're doing great.
So give John Paul a call. Check him out online.
I'll get a call later. Sheriff will be like, I went on that first video you boys did. Something was wrong with it. Then I had to track you down on the second one. I don't like having to track you down.
I liked and shared the second one as quickly as I could.
Right, I'll get that call.
White Trash Services, speaking of calls, give them a call. 550-1826
550-1826
for all your trash collection needs. Now's the time with that burn ban in effect. Now's the time to get that 15 cubic yard roll-off special into your yard. Get all your brush, all your debris, all your burn pile out of there. Clean it up so you can enjoy a blight-free summer scape.
Charlie's Bait Camp, Seadrift, Texas, yesterday. White Trash Services.
There you go.
Dumpster sitting right there.
There you go. And they've got dumpsters. They've got weekly trash container collection. as
Big
well, so
roll-offs for your big cleanup jobs.
they can do it all.
It's spring. It's time to do your spring cleaning. Get a hold of White Trash Services.
550-1826.
That was a good spot right there.
That was pretty good.
BJ, we're going to send you a little extra something for us on that next invoice. That was a good one right there.
That was good.
Maybe get another, what, $10 out of it?
Yeah, maybe. Patricia Nagel checking in. You know what? Our sponsors remind me to support local business. And I put a post out yesterday. I kind of did some quick math. And we've got about 45,000 employed
Always
people.
interesting when you do math.
Yeah. Got about 45,000 people employed in Victoria County, according to Texas Workforce Commission. Those are March numbers.
Now it's 8,000.
Well, probably, but based on March numbers and the optimism that those showed, if just 3/4 of that, so about 32,000 employed people in Victoria spent $50 a month locally. And maybe this is a $50 extra that you weren't spending, but this is the impact it would have. $19 million in gross revenue would be created in Victoria alone.
That's $1.6 million a month. And by the way, that would easily be done if the bars would reopen.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
And that's locally, independently owned business. That's $50 a month at local mom and pop shops. And again, that could be a franchise business, locally owned and operated. There's, but that's the kind of impact that would have
right.
in Victoria. And if you did that 2 or 3 businesses, I mean, geez, now you're pushing $60 million a year in annual revenue for local businesses. If every one of those 35,000 people did spend $50, and let's be honest, folks, $50 a month is, $150 a month. If you did that in 3 businesses, that's a lot of people's disposable spending money.
Sure.
And that could be anything, restaurants. A lot of us are already doing that anyway.
Yep.
But then I just wanted to bring kind of the visualization of what that means for Victoria.
It
That's
doesn't
pretty,
take that much if we all do it.
and continue to do it. So I thought that, it was an interesting look at the numbers yesterday.
Off the top of your head, because I like the unscripted portion of the show, which is usually everything we do is very tight and buttoned down. But in this part, I'd like to just kind of have like a casual interaction with you as my friend and partner. What do you think is going to happen to bar sales?
Michael Terrell says Ash's custom pies.
Right? to bar sales, what do you think bar revenue is going to do? Like if tomorrow it was okay and we just said, all right, everybody, let's go out. It's okay to go out. I mean, I picture the bars being inundated early. If everybody felt comfortable, I'm just saying it's a hypothetical, but everybody might go to Aerocrafters, everybody might go to Shooters just to see
Get out again,
right? But I think in short order, people are going to go $5.50 for a Michelob Ultra.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the house.
Well,
I wonder. I mean, I'll have my friends over and buy the drinks. It's cheaper than going out. I wonder if you're going to see a resurgence of the neighborhood party. I don't know.
block parties.
Yeah,
Those were a thing in the 70s and 80s. I remember.
Well, there was a
I remember
a
in the-
lot of swingers back then. You know, that's how
might
they
have been
met.
part of it.
Yeah, that's how they
Or
met.
part of it, at least growing up in Calgary, was they were always around, the time that the weather actually warmed up and you could go outside and do something.
Yeah,
Usually after the street cleaners had gone by and swept all the gravel off the road so nobody slipped and fell when they were
Sure.
drunk trying to walk home.
when they were drunk. Street sweepers very important in Canada, folks, because they drink a lot.
Not only per capita, but Canadians consume more booze
than
in
anybody.
volume
Yeah.
than a lot of countries twice its size or bigger. So there
What
you
did
go.
BJ Nelson say?
She said, how about encouraging city council to have a local company provide dumpster roll-off business? We've talked about that. We think it should
We
happen.
agree it should happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We have to get Ms. Nelson on the air with us at some point because it's not just as simple as winning the low bid. There's a lot of nuances going on, and by design, I think white trash gives a portion. I mean, not white trash. Excuse me. I think that waste management currently gives a portion of what they take in revenue, like back to the city. It's almost like it's not a kickback, but to me, it smells
Quid pro
like
quo?
it smells like a kickback. And I'm sure it's perfectly legal. I'm just saying it just seems.
I think it's
kind
called
of
a
weird.
franchise tax or something like that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or something along those lines. There's a name for it. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So in an update from something the other day, I did see on Commissioner's Court.
James Kurth asked, so they convert the Zambonis to street sweepers in Canada.
Exactly.
James, there's no need for that because our ice rinks and arenas have ice all year round. We play hockey all year.
I'm sure hoping the NHL comes back soon so you can get a haircut.
Me too.
They did talk the other day, Commissioner's Court, they're still battling that beam, that pesky beam and that column that they wanted to take out a while back.
Yeah.
They did something and then they're having to redo that. Yeah, so
The roof started caving.
oh man, old buildings.
Yeah. No, that's the fun. That's the fun with when you start renovating
Yes,
buildings that have no plans or drawings.
right. Well, we just put that there, thought it was overkill.
Oops, it wasn't.
I've learned so much during this pandemic, though. I told you that I changed out the automatic switch on my pantry door. I did that by myself without getting electrocuted.
That was nice. That's good.
And the other
You turned the
day,
breaker off.
I turned off the water at the street and took out the valve of one of my outdoor hose bibs and went to Lowe's and got the right washer and put it back together, and it doesn't leak
Yet.
yet. Or it's leaking back into my wall and I'll have black death on my
Yeah.
So you're worried about this murder hornet? Are you worried about that?
No.
The thing
No.
looks like a big grasshopper with
Yeah, it's interesting because the other day I was watching a YouTube series called Brave Wilderness, and I finally got to a point of like the 8 cuddliest, cutest animals that he'd ever dealt with on a show.
koala bear and the panda.
Some little fuzzy porcupine from South America, and
Cute till he gets irritated.
yeah, but he didn't. He was eating peanuts out of his hand. It was pretty cute. The baby sloth was probably the cutest. I want a baby sloth now. But anyway,
The little tiger.
he had a whole
All cute till they want to eat the baby sloth.
yeah, he had a whole series of where he would take stinging insects
Right.
and sting himself with them and grade the pain.
Idiot.
And I don't know if this was the wasp. I didn't think it was the Asian giant. What is this called? The giant Asian hornet, right? Isn't that what it's called? This one I thought was from Peru, but I could be wrong. Yeah, but it looks very similar. And then he had the executioner wasp. But he would put it on his arm and he had it in forceps and he'd manipulate a little bit so it would have to sting him
Right.
and
Like
hit
squeeze its head with the
a little or
forceps.
something. And he would just writhe in pain. I mean, this thing got him and he whelped up and
You know what
it was
that's like?
interesting. And
That's
he had
like,
the EpiPen ready, but he didn't need it.
that's like voting Democrat. That's exactly what that's like. Matt Boucher says Carter's yard is on point, and Dawn, the lovely and talented, comes in and goes, "Look at you doing grown-up things." Unbelievable. Funky Trey says, "Stay away from the electrical work."
Michael Terrell says you're becoming such a big boy.
I am. I'm not ready to start my own garden yet, but I'll tell you that I reached in there and I pulled those wires and I did figure out that they were.
One was black, one was white, and the ground, right?
But see, there's no ground because it's just in series. It just it goes in, and then when you push the button, you open the circuit, and when you open the door, the spring closes it. Well, T-Lad had to go into the garage, and I put the screwdriver on there, so I could keep the light on. And she had to flip breakers until she found it because there wasn't one that said pantry light.
Yeah, no, never.
She had to flip that, and we finally got it. And then I went outside and got her away from the box because I thought like y'all might have been talking about my life insurance or something. And I hooked that rig back up, and it worked. My dad was even proud.
I am your secondary beneficiary now. You know
that?
Clayton Meyer says, "Here we go. Ash gets a baby sloth, gets scratched, and Victoria has a new pandemic."
Right?
Haven't you all seen Outbreak?
Right. True
story.
It all starts with a sloth.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the murder hornet. Apparently, it's. And I can't remember what the people that study insects, they've never even heard it casually refer to that term. The New York Times used that term and it's caught on. And the folks that study insects said they never even referred to it or heard it referred to that ever. So there you go.
That? It's one of those crazy words. It's like arachnophobia. It's something entomologist.
Entomologist? No. Is that it?
I think you may be right.
Is that it?
Entomologist.
Maybe.
I think you're right.
But anyway, so it was a made-up term by the New York Times that's caught on. But apparently kind of killer bee-ish unless you actually get into their nest. They're not going to bother you. But so far, they're only in Blaine, Washington. So can't we – if we can round up a bunch of people to contact trace people with suspected COVID, if this is the plan – can't we get a bunch of the folks at the Washington State Ag Department to mobilize and get to Blaine, Washington, which is just on the border south of Vancouver?
Right.
Can't we get a bunch of people to contact trace these hornets and let's eradicate them and get them out of North America? Sure. They're not native. We don't know. This was an article. This is how exciting my life is right now. I read articles from people who study these things, and they're kind of not even that exciting, but they're worried about the unknown that this hornet might have on.
It's a bug
on all our
crops and
everything because they don't know what it'll do over here. They know what it can do in Asia or what it does.
We eradicated the boll weevil. Why can't we just put out some little traps for them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can't mobilize a bunch of people to go, hey, I got one of these things in my yard. Go find them all. Let's get rid of as many of them as possible.
Sure.
That would be more advantageous to the United States as a whole. Well, we know they're only in Blaine, Washington, then letting them just kind of go through the country and meander about. And then next thing you know, we're dealing with another fire ant problem, right?
This common sense solution to life's complex problems brought to you by Mr. Apocalypse. What if we just gave everybody a tennis racket? Those dudes are about the size of a shuttlecock. It'd be like playing badminton.
You just need a badminton racket.
But I'd hit it like that green goo would go all over you when I hit it.
That's all right. It's not harmless.
It's
not harmful.
You mentioned something this morning, and you kind of phrased it. I thought you were going to make fun of me because the question made such common sense that it didn't even seem like you were really being serious. We were like, well, what if the United States had a lab?
Oh yeah, let's take our final break and then we'll get to this topic because this was a topic that I had.
Part of the intense prep we do for the show every day, folks. No, talk about intense prep. You need to get over to Uncle Matt's Barbecue because it takes hours. They don't just come in 5 minutes before lunch and whip all this good stuff up like we do.
No.
They're there at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
You do. I'm here, bro. I prep all day and all night.
Well, if that's the best you got, we're going down the toilet. But Uncle Mutt's brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey, all the sides, more ribs. I like ribs. You can get all the green beans and pinto beans and Uncle Mutt's rice and all the potato salad, coleslaw, pea salad. They've got it all. Reach out to Uncle Mutt's this week.
Fried sweet corn.
Their catering is still great, and that's what makes it so easy for them to make the transition. They can just take you at the drive-thru, bring you a plate or a container of food that's resealable, and you can use it all week.
And they're open 7 days a week again.
Gray Barn Design, reach out to Cheryl for your next event. And it's time to start thinking about your next event. Ash and I are planning one now. We can't talk much about it, but you're going to be invited. And there's no humor in that. You're going to be invited, and then we're going to expect you to be there because we're going to keep harping on it until you shell out like maybe $40 and show up. So plan on it. Cheryl will be the decorator. She'll do it for free for the advertisement. It'll be great. And you can reach her at 920-6803. So 920-6803. And she's just great. She's had great reviews. I'm not surprised. I know her, but it's interesting that people just say, oh, wow, she did this for us, and it was unbelievable. So you'd be glad you did.
Look, my mom's up early.
Hi, Miss Tina.
Hi, Tinka.
So remember this too, folks. It's that time of year. You've got your Generac generator, and you want to take this whole show to the next level. Get with Went Generators. Get with Went Services, and Carl and his crew will come out and put solar panels on your roof.
Or somewhere else that makes sense. If you have a lot of land, they can put them somewhere.
Right. And then they will feed into a battery pack provided by Generac. Generac was not late to the game on this, but they weren't hasty. And they have perfected the battery storage to where your solar panels will recharge the batteries, and you can arrange it so that your home will run in part at night off the batteries. Don't fire up the generator. It'll run off the batteries at night, and the solar panel will replenish itself the next day, drastically dropping your electric bill. So reach out to Went Generators today. Generac, made in North America, one of the finest companies on the planet.
Awesome.
So your mom's in.
Mom's in. And we were talking about this because President Trump's getting a lot of heat because he's still pushing.
Because he's President Trump.
Well, yeah, there's that too. And the media, just anything he says, they've got to go 180 degrees the other way and come at him with it.
Right. Sky's blue. No, it's not, Donald. Orange man.
You can't get orange from a blue sky.
Right. Unbelievable.
But he's taking a lot of heat because he's still pushing what they're calling a false narrative that the virus came out of a lab. Right?
Right.
And you have, and I've listened to this. I read some articles from people that are in the intel. They're still looking into this, by the way. But you have the same folks who are at the top of the bureaucracy of our National Intelligence Committee. And don't forget, these are the same people that were pushing the Christopher Steele dossier.
Right.
Right? That turned out to be absolutely bogus and not vetted properly and all this, right? So, yeah, keep that in mind. I'm not knocking the folks doing the work day to day. I'm knocking those that are playing politics at the top who, didn't like President Trump from the get-go and tried to undermine him from the start with the fake dossier and all that. It was all intertwined. So keep that in mind as you go through this. But logistically speaking, I'm sitting there going, okay, we found out that our National Institutes of Health funded studies at the Wuhan Institute for Virology of coronaviruses in bats. We sent money over there. $3 million, I believe, was the number I saw that went over there to study this. University of Texas was involved.
And Dr. Fauci's request.
Well, and
it's common.
He's part of
practice.
He's part of the machine that does it.
Right.
We need money over here to study this. We're going to study. He may not know all the intricate details of it.
And the U.S. has done this for years, and it's common practice, and other countries do it as well. There is no crime in sending money to a foreign country to study viruses in a lab. We all do it.
You might want to have second pause when a country like China under Deng Xiaoping
close the window.
was basically very arrogant and would publicly say that they wanted to studied biology and biowarfare and how that might actually work against the U.S. population at some point. This was back in the 1980s and 1990s, but we didn't care about those things back then because we were too busy focused on bringing down the Iron Curtain and China, and the Soviet Union. So anyway, why is it so unreasonable to believe? Because it's just, to me, it's just too coincidental. You have a lab in Wuhan where we're studying coronaviruses in bats.
Right.
You have a wet market basically across the street from the lab. And it just so happens that the virus that we're dealing with, that's a pandemic across the globe, is a coronavirus from a bat, from a wet market in the same city where a lab was studying the exact same viruses, or maybe even manipulating viruses to see what could happen.
It would be as if you studied the effects of nuclear radiation on potatoes at a lab in Houston, and you walked across the street to McDonald's and the French fries were glowing, and somehow you made the determination that there might be something related there. And then people say to you from a globe, now that's the dumbest thing. It's not only not logical, it's the dumbest suggestion ever. That's what they said. Just because we're studying this virus that nobody had ever heard of in a province in remote parts of China, and then a guy in China gets it, ridiculous assumption. Yeah.
Why do we even study this virus?
Well, it's interesting. I heard a radio program the other day. This is where it's not scripted, but my breadth of knowledge comes into play. One guy said
just enough to just enough about a lot of things to make you dangerous.
Well, this guy said that, for example, that the Russians and the Chinese, they like to study viruses with no cure, with an eye towards weaponizing them. And he went on to say,
Deng Xiaoping wanted to do that.
But he said the United States does the same thing, but from the different side of they only study viruses in order to find a cure. And he said, don't think that that's romantic. That doesn't make us better. It just means that if we ever unleashed Ebola on a group of people to kill them, we would have the cure and say, here's our negotiation tool. Your people are dying, but we can vaccinate them tomorrow and they won't die. Whereas the Russians and Chinese allegedly don't care. We'll just kill off your whole country. We don't care. So you got that going for you.
Yeah. James Kurth asks, why are we doing anything with China? We've had this crazy thought over the years that if we work with them, they will eventually become capitalists.
Yeah, they're not. You're right, James. They're not becoming capitalists.
No. They are. They're becoming capitalist enough to bring in enough foreign currency so that they don't have to continue to manipulate their own currency, so that they can do business on the world stage in American dollars.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
And that's why we're printing so many of them, to devalue their money.
And just to be clear, because, some people are going to say some things, when I talk about China in this way, I'm talking about the Communist Party that runs the country,
China,
not the people of China, who have been brainwashed for decades and really have no choice but to fall in lockstep with the Chinese Communist Party that runs the country.
Yep. So, folks, we're going to start a GoFundMe account soon to raise money for some curling lanes. UHV Athletics. It is my dream, my goal, to have a Zamboni and 3 lanes for tournament curling.
Rinks.
3 rinks of tournament curling at UHV. I see no reason for not to have. I would like to have a quaint little facility on campus, maybe seats 2,500.
What's some of the old ones kind of look like that, that half dome Quonset.
We could do that. Brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Curling.
Clydesdales could pull the Zamboni, but that might make a mess.
Here comes the rock. Here comes the rock. Right? Make another little UHV sweater on. It would be amazing.
George Gutierrez asked, think we'll see changes coming. I don't know that we will unless America takes. Well, The president got lambasted yesterday when he said he's thinking of even stricter tariffs against China to make them pay for. And here's why. Before we end this, here's why I do think that there might be some validity to the Wuhan virus coming out of that lab in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not intentionally, but certainly it's plausible that it might have accidentally escaped or somehow, right?
Right.
They don't want any outside investigators from other countries going into that laboratory and looking at things.
Sounds a lot like
they've cleaned up the meat, the Wuhan fresh food market or whatever they call it, the wet market. I mean, they bleached that thing. They have done everything they can to cover their tracks and erase any traces of anything of evidence.
it sounds like Iraq. It's like that. We don't want you to look at our nuclear facility. We don't want you to look at our,
Weapons of mass destruction and exactly. No, I mean they're hiding something, but we're supposed to believe just because the Communist Party tells us there's nothing there, there's nothing there.
Are you getting
These aren't the droids you were looking for. It's kind of what reminds me.
right?
They're trying to pull Jedi mind tricks, and the problem is half of this country falls for it.
You guys got his arm on it. What droid? What are you talking about? I don't see a droid.
But anyway,
I wonder. The president's gotten very predictable lately, though. Just it's going to be terrific. We're going to go in. We're going to inspect, and then we're going to shut it down. Bad, bad, bad. China, bad. I don't know. I mean, it's like he does kind of. It's not even double speak. He just kind of talks in positive generalities.
Yeah.
As opposed to us, who talks in realities.
According to worldmeter.com or worldmeterinfo.com, coronavirus tracking 1.256 million people have recovered of the 3.7 million coronavirus cases that have been positively confirmed in the world.
So a third have recovered. 260,000 have died out of 3.2 million.
2.2 of those active cases are currently, active, and almost 98% of those cases are considered mild condition.
But you're not feeling great. Just to put that in perspective, if the entire city of Houston had coronavirus, 3.27 million is what's on this chart, and 260,000 people died in Houston, we wouldn't take much solace in the fact that 1.25 are like, hey, I'm good, I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
260,000 people is a lot of people. In
Houston.
In Houston. In the world, not so much.
So just some data for you.
There you go. Folks, we hope you have a great day.
Yep.
And Ash is going to play our drive safely.
And we'll get out of here.
And we will. We hope you guys are safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We appreciate your attention. Please drive safely.
Love it.
I thought Adam was
It was. I think maybe he's going to come on with y'all. Right?
Let me tell you, I put him on. Rob and I put him on.
Still on.
YouTube still. That's good. That was all good food. They get good